In a surprising turn of events, Carole Middleton made a bold move that left Queen Camilla in tears. For years, Carole has quietly played a supportive role, but this action has shaken the royal family to its core. What sparked this unexpected confrontation, and how will it impact the future of the monarchy? Stay tuned to the video to explore the drama unfolding at Buckingham Palace. What do you think about Carole's bold move? Could this shift the balance of power within the royal family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you think this is just the beginning of a royal power shift, leave a 1. If not, leave a 0. And don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on the latest royal news. For decades, the British royal family has maintained an image as a solid fortress where secrets are carefully concealed. However, cracks have now begun to appear. At the age of 70, Carole Middleton, with strong determination and unwavering resolve, has broken the long silence. Her words resonated powerfully, shaking Buckingham Palace to its core. Queen Camilla, a figure surrounded by controversy, once again found herself at the center of a major royal storm. What stories remain hidden behind those closed doors? What silent power struggles have quietly shaped the role of the future queen consort? The battle for control within the monarchy is intensifying, and this revelation has upended the established order. Over the years, Carole Middleton has skillfully maintained a quiet yet influential role. With her steady presence, she has navigated the royal world with grace and strength, never seeking the spotlight but always holding undeniable influence. She mastered the rules and understood the necessity of quiet support. However, when she chose to break her silence and confront Queen Camilla, the revelation sent shockwaves through the palace. This was not just a fleeting rumor or scandal, but the eruption of tensions that had been buried for years. A silent power struggle had been brewing behind the scenes, and now everything had been exposed. Carole Middleton has witnessed many struggles, from the collapse of the company she built to the challenges faced by the royal family. But this time, everything is different. Carole's words carry an undeniable weight. What she shared has broken the unity wall that the royal family had carefully built. For those who have followed royal events, this tension is not a surprise. Carole and Camilla have appeared together at events, but those smiles have hidden a competition for influence. When Kate Middleton entered royal life, the worlds of these two women collided. Now, at the age of 70, Carole Middleton has spoken out, exposing the silent power struggle that has been unfolding in the shadows, revealing a long-standing discord. To truly understand the gravity of this revelation, we must look back to the moment Kate Middleton became an integral part of the royal family. At first glance, Carole Middleton and Camilla seem to belong to two entirely different worlds, connected only through the marriage of their children. However, the differences between them go beyond their backgrounds. Camilla grew up in an aristocratic family where class and lineage were the determining factors of one's position in society. She understands the rules and traditions of the royal family, the unwritten laws that decide who truly belongs there. Meanwhile, Carole Middleton, with her persistence and hard work, rose from humble beginnings. She was not born into a royal family, but she possessed qualities that surpassed any title. With resilience and ambition, Carole ensured that her daughter had the best opportunities for growth despite coming from a middle-class background. Since Kate Middleton joined the royal family, Camilla has expressed doubts about Kate's ability to take on the role of queen, although never openly hostile. Camilla's subtle dismissals prompted Carole to observe closely and recognize every slight against her daughter. However, she chose to remain silent, patiently waiting for the right moment to protect Kate's position within the royal family. No one has had a greater impact on the royal family than Princess Diana, even though she passed away long ago. Her presence remains deeply ingrained in the hearts of the public, and her influence continues to be an inseparable part of the monarchy's legacy. Camilla, despite her efforts to improve her personal image over the years, has never been able to escape the large shadow cast by Diana. And then came Kate Middleton. From the very first moment, the public couldn't help but draw comparisons between Kate and Diana. Kate's warmth, natural grace, and ability to connect with people made her a figure many associated with Diana. Alongside Carole, she witnessed the injustices Diana endured, and Carole was determined that her daughter would not suffer the same fate. As Kate and Prince William's relationship became more serious and moved closer to the royal family, Carole began to notice subtle changes in the way people treated her. At first, she tried to convince herself that everything was fine, that the friendliness of some royal members was a sign of acceptance and openness. Indeed, some were warm and welcomed her as part of the royal family. However, she soon realized the lack of enthusiasm, the cold stares, and the unspoken distance. Carole felt that while her daughter was gradually becoming an integral part of the royal family, she herself was not being received with the warmth and respect she had hoped for. Over time, she became aware that she was still seen as an outsider in a world full of power and tradition. The feeling of being ignored during gatherings, the fleeting looks of aloofness, and especially the clear separations in conversations, made her heart ache. There were times when Carole sat in a room full of people, but felt like an outsider, no one truly noticing her presence. The silence was sometimes not because there was nothing to say, but because she was not invited to speak. In that unfamiliar world where unspoken rules and class distinctions quietly persisted, Carole felt like a shadow, invisible and isolated despite all her efforts to fit in. In contrast to Carole Camilla, the future queen was born into an old aristocratic family where traditional values and royal protocols were paramount. From a young age, Camilla was raised in an environment that valued class and heritage, with a deep understanding of hierarchy and court etiquette. Because of this, she steadfastly upheld what was considered the royal standard, including how events were organized, social conduct, and public image management. When faced with someone like Carole, a middle-class woman from a working-class background, with a simple, practical lifestyle, the differences became even more pronounced. Although not openly expressed, the discord between these two women from vastly different worlds gradually revealed itself in the smallest details. As Kate and William's royal wedding approached, Carole, as the bride's mother, wished to contribute some personal touches that would add a familial warmth to her daughter's special day. However, her ideas, born from a desire to make the wedding more intimate, cozy, and connected, were sometimes seen as an intrusion into royal tradition. Some of Carole's proposals were politely declined, while others were outright rejected without concealment. Through these reactions, the message she received was quite clear. Carole was expected to smile, nod in agreement, and step back, leaving the spotlight entirely to others. In a royal event, her role, even as the bride's mother, was confined within the boundaries of silence and compliance. After the wedding, the tensions didn't disappear, but instead simmered down and grew deeper. Carole felt that her time with her daughter Kate was becoming increasingly limited. Although Kate gracefully fulfilled her royal duties, Carole knew the heavy burdens behind the scenes were immense. Family visits became less frequent, and even their private moments were often interrupted. Even Christmas holidays, once a time for family gatherings, had become a major challenge. You definitely can't miss this turn of events. Carole Middleton, the mother who has always stood behind supporting Kate, has now spoken out and shaken the entire palace. Could this be the beginning of a new power struggle within the royal family? According to the strict traditions and rules of the British royal family, members, including new additions like Kate, are required to spend Christmas at Sandringham with the Queen and other royals. This is not merely a regular family reunion, but a ritual laden with symbolism and discipline. Every activity, from meals and conversations to dress codes, is arranged according to a fixed schedule and royal protocol. For Carole Middleton and Kate alike, this was a difficult adjustment. While previous Christmases had been filled with laughter, intimate jokes, and the natural warmth of family Christmas at Sandringham brought feelings of distant formality and a certain coldness. For Kate, this adjustment was twofold. On one hand, she fully understood her new role within the royal family and the responsibilities that came with it. On the other hand, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness as she had to leave behind what was once familiar and warm. Standing between two worlds, one being the royal family with its unyielding rules, and the other being the Middleton family with its close-knit and simple affection, often made Kate feel like she was living two lives. As for Carole, the mother who had always been by her daughter's side during holidays, she could now only watch from afar, accepting that the change in her daughter's social status also meant she was gradually being pushed outside the intimate boundaries they once shared. The festive seasons, instead of bringing them closer, had become a quiet reminder of the growing distance between these two worlds. In July 2013, when Prince George, the first son of William and Kate, was born, it was not only a monumental event for the royal family, but also a sacred moment for Carole Middleton. As a mother and soon-to-be grandmother, Carole had hoped to be by her daughter's side during those early days of motherhood, supporting Kate through the postpartum period and caring for her first grandchild with the closest and most natural love. For Carole, caring for her grandchild was not just a responsibility, but a happiness, an invaluable opportunity to connect and nurture family bonds, much like many grandmothers do. However, the reality within the palace was far more complicated than expected. From the moment Prince George was born, royal rules and traditions were swiftly and strictly enforced. Professional royal nannies, carefully selected for their background skills and impeccable conduct, were assigned to care for the child. Every step of the care process followed specific protocols and principles, from feeding schedules to arranging sleep times. This meant that Carole, despite her goodwill and experience as a mother, was gradually sidelined. No one directly forbade her involvement, but the unspoken boundaries and carefully arranged limitations prevented her from playing the grandmother role she had envisioned. Some close to the royal family believe that Camilla, whose status and influence within the royal circle were steadily growing, may have played a role in establishing this distance between the Middleton family and the royal world. Although there is no clear evidence or public statement, Camilla's quiet support for traditional rules, combined with a cautious attitude toward outsiders becoming too involved in royal affairs, has led many to suspect that she was behind the stance to keep the Middleton family's influence to a minimum. This separation seemed not only the result of class differences, but also a deliberate choice to protect the internal power structure of the royal family, within which Camilla was increasingly becoming a key figure. The situation reached a boiling point in July 2015 when Princess Charlotte, the second daughter of William and Kate, was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham. It was a formal event, but also one with deep personal significance for the Middleton family. Carole, as the grandmother, had carefully planned a private, intimate gathering after the official ceremony, a moment for the family to come together and share their joy without the spotlight. However, at the last minute, this plan was dismissed by Camilla's office. Whether the reasons given were administrative or organizational, the manner and timing of the rejection left Carole feeling both disappointed and hurt. Her efforts to create a meaningful moment for her grandchildren were suddenly dismissed, and this only highlighted the underlying tension between two worlds, one a simple family and the other a royal family full of rules and control. What could have been a warm family moment instead became a reminder of how carefully Carole's role within the royal context was being managed. Behind the palace walls and the perfect smiles shown to the public, a quiet rivalry gradually took shape, not through loud scandals or dramatic confrontations, but through years of silent refusals, subtle dismissals, and a continuous struggle for a place in Kate's royal life. Carole Middleton, once the warm center of Kate's life and a steadfast support during the years before entering the royal family, was gradually pushed to the sidelines. Not through cruel or openly hostile actions, but by a series of subtle, cold, and symbolic gestures. Polite nods replaced genuine sharing conversations were limited by protocol, and her presence at family events was increasingly restricted, all silently sending a message she was not truly welcome within the inner circle of the royal family. Carole, who only wished to be close to her daughter and grandchildren, now faced a harsh reality that her love alone was not enough to break through the invisible barriers erected by status and tradition. So what caused the relationship between Carole and Camilla, two women with deep influence over Kate's life, to become so cold? Was it simply a difference in class and lifestyle, or something deeper? Some sources suggest that the underlying tension between them escalated significantly after Princess Charlotte's baptism in 2015. When Carole's carefully planned private family gathering after the baptism was canceled at the last minute by Camilla's office, many within the royal circle believed this was more than just an organizational decision. It was a power move. It may have been the moment when the silent struggle between two worlds, one of ordinary maternal love, the other of ancient royal tradition, truly erupted quietly but decisively. Everything seemed peaceful on the surface, but then a subtle shift began in Carole Middleton's approach to royal life. What had once been gentle efforts to blend between the Middleton family and the royal family gradually transformed into something more deliberate and assertive. For years, Carole tried to fit in, smiling, politely stepping back when asked, and accepting being sidelined. But over time, she felt increasingly isolated, not just as a mother, but also as a grandmother to her beloved grandchildren. Eventually, she made a quiet but firm decision to stop trying to fit into a world that never truly welcomed her. Though she never spoke out publicly, Carole's absence began to be noticed at royal events. Where she once stood proudly beside Kate, she no longer appeared. Her absence was not loud or dramatic. It was measured, careful, and graceful. She did not rebel. She simply chose to protect her dignity and reclaim her place in her own way. The path to this decision was far from easy. Since Kate married Prince William in 2011, Carole had struggled to find her footing in the royal world, a world not only unfamiliar, but often rejecting of her presence. The royal rules and Carole's modern values did not always align. Carole Middleton never sought the spotlight or craved public attention. She did not need titles or recognition from the aristocracy to affirm her self-worth. With strength, independence, and a progressive spirit, she built her own success from an ordinary middle-class woman to the founder of a respected business. It was precisely this resilience that made her stand out and sometimes caused discomfort in an environment where status and tradition were considered inviolable. By existing and succeeding without relying on lineage or influence, Carole challenged long-standing class prejudices, something some within the royal family might have viewed as a subtle threat, even though she never intended to confront anyone. When Prince George was born in 2013, a momentous event, not only for the royal family but also for the Middleton family, Carole hoped to play the role of a devoted grandmother, always by her daughter's and grandson's side during this important early stage of life. However, the reality at the palace was far from easy. The strict royal protocols and tightly managed schedules quickly shaped every activity around the child. Carole's sincere offers to help even with small things like caring for the baby or supporting Kate's postpartum recovery were often gently but firmly declined. Instead, she had to accept a difficult reality to see her grandchildren and be part of their lives. She had to negotiate every moment and every meeting. Carole Middleton's situation was not simply a story of class differences. It was also a matter of power and control within the royal household. Though coming from a middle-class background and with no ambition to intrude into the royal power structure, Carole was placed under supervision and kept at a distance. Every step she took, every appearance she made was carefully considered by influential figures within the palace. Her presence, even when gentle and sincere, seemed always to require vetting to avoid crossing the invisible boundaries between the royal family and the outside world. And while Carole was limited in accessing her grandchildren or participating in important family events, another woman was increasingly asserting her status and comfort within the private walls of the royal residence. Camilla, once regarded as an outsider and faced with considerable skepticism, has now been fully accepted by the royal family and has even become one of the strongest voices in maintaining traditional order. In her role as queen consort, Camilla clearly upholds the principles of propriety and ceremony, and she does not hesitate to propose boundaries whenever she senses foreign elements, such as the influence of the Middleton family, that could potentially disrupt the royal image. Camilla's firmness and recognition, especially when contrasted with Carole's increasingly diminished position, paint a strikingly clear picture. One woman once doubted has risen to become a symbol of tradition, while the other, with all her simple, genuine love, has quietly been pushed to the margins of a world she never sought to deeply enter. According to many astute observers within the royal circle, Camilla may have seen in Carole Middleton not just Kate's mother, but a factor capable of unsettling the delicate balance of power within the royal family. While Carole never showed any ambition to interfere with royal decisions or internal structures, her persistent presence and natural closeness to Kate and her children, especially Prince George and Princess Charlotte, brought about a subtle yet unmistakable influence. For Camilla, this may have been perceived as a threat not in a political sense, but on a personal and symbolic level. Two women, both mothers, both protecting their families, yet coming from two completely opposite worlds and carrying very different values. The tension became particularly evident during an occasion meant to symbolize unity, the 70th birthday celebration of Prince Charles, held in November 2018 at Buckingham Palace. This was a major event, bringing together all the key members of the royal family, along with a select few carefully chosen special guests. Carole and Michael Middleton were also present, but according to insider sources, the atmosphere between Carole and Camilla during this event was one of the most notably frozen moments. While Camilla appeared confident and at ease, playing a central role beside her husband Carole, though treated politely, clearly felt the invisible boundary separating her from the rest of the room. The Middleton family maintained their usual respectful demeanor, but behind the elegant setting, the event had a profound impact on Carole. While mingling with aristocratic friends, Camilla reportedly commented on the importance of family heritage, saying old money is more important than new success. Though no names were mentioned, those familiar with the family dynamics clearly understood the implication. For Carole, it was the final insult, a reminder that no matter how hard she worked or how lovingly she raised her daughter, she would never truly belong in this world. The tense moment at Prince Louis's concert was not merely a routine social event, but marked a significant turning point in Carole Middleton's life. Rather than reacting publicly or complaining about the growing coldness and distance between herself and Queen Camilla, Carole chose silence and patiently began to withdraw from the complex whirlpool of royal traditions. She no longer tried to fit in or cling to difficult relationships, nor did she hope to be invited to grand occasions as before. This retreat was not an act of surrender, but a wise decision to preserve her dignity and inner peace. Instead, Carole focused on her private life, further developing the business she had long built and becoming more deeply involved in community activities to which she had always devoted her passion and energy. Although no longer playing a central role in royal events, she quietly kept track of and cared about the developments behind the scenes, the stories, relationships, and ever-changing dynamics within the palace that only insiders could truly understand. Carole knew that even standing outside the spotlight, she remained an important part of the family, and would always watch over the steps of her daughter and grandchildren with enduring and steadfast love. According to those close to her, Carole began documenting every instance of being sidelined, each canceled visit with her grandchildren, every event she was excluded from. She was not petty, but she protected her story through a network of business and social connections she had built over years of work. She started hearing snippets of information, revealing how power operated behind palace doors, the extravagant expenditures, strange changes in charitable funds, and overlaps between personal lives and official duties. Although she had come to somewhat understand the bigger picture of her complicated relationship with Queen Camilla, Carole Middleton still chose to remain silent and adopt a more discreet attitude than ever before. She did not want to cause a fuss or stir up more turmoil in the already chaotic and harsh royal world. Instead, Carole chose to move slowly and patiently, waiting for the natural unfolding of time and events. However, by early 2024, the tension between these two powerful women could no longer be kept under wraps and gradually became visible to the public, drawing the attention and speculation of those interested in the royal family. Small signs, evasive gestures, and growing distance in their interactions began to be scrutinized closely by the media and public alike. The coldness and distance between Carole and Camilla remain evident, reflecting an undeniable reality. Their relationship has fractured deeply and is difficult to repair. This isn't just about one specific event. It's the result of years of silent struggle, subtle disdain, and unspoken rivalry. However, throughout it all, Carole never broke her silence. She taught her children to respect grace and dignity, but the emotional wounds remained profound. Seeing others warmly embraced, while she struggled to find time with her grandchildren, Carole felt a deep, unspoken pain. Camilla, who had spent years establishing her position within the royal family, was said to have felt uneasy about the attention Kate was receiving. The silent competition between them reached its peak during the COVID-19 lockdowns. While Camilla adhered to traditional methods such as official phone calls and carefully scripted video messages, Kate took a different approach. She used social media and casual video chats to connect with people, showing a more approachable and modern side of the monarchy. Kate's efforts were widely praised. Her warmth and accessibility made the royal family feel more relatable during one of the most challenging times in recent history. The stark contrast between their styles highlighted a deeper divide within the monarchy between the old way of doing things and the new. In the palace, a world defined by order, tradition, and meticulous control power never disappears abruptly. Instead, it shifts, adapts, and recalibrates according to new realities. At present, that shift is clearly leaning toward the Middleton family, seen through Kate's growing prominence and the quiet, unwavering support of her mother, Carole Middleton. This isn't just a transition, it's a symbol of profound internal change within the royal household, signaling the dawn of a new era, one full of promise, but not without its challenges. A new power struggle is slowly unfolding within the royal family, and with every move, Carole Middleton is proving she's not someone easily overshadowed. Secrets and tensions that were once hidden are now grabbing the attention of the entire world. Will Carole continue to fight to protect her family, or will there be a major shift in the future of the monarchy? Stay tuned to see what happens next. If you find this story interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more exciting and dramatic videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.